Country music has undergone some pretty drastic changes in the last few years, from the old crying in your beer music to the more sophisticated type of tunes, which I guess we hear now and which you write. And I wonder if that transition is something that has helped you, or did you evolve with it, or just what kind of a feeling do you have about new country music?
I don't know whether I changed before, after, or at the same time, but I certainly wrote my share of the crying in the beer songs. Played bars and cabarets and taverns for so many years, and it's kind of a natural thing. But I think that probably also led to writing away from that as a diversion. Countrified was probably the first thing that I wrote that led into the country type songs, and since then I've written a number of them.
You've been awarded several broadcast music awards for your songs, and I'd like to know just how you go about winning an award like that.
Broadcast Music Incorporated is supposedly logging airplay, television performances, etc., of your music, of everybody's music that is a BMI affiliate writer. And it's supposedly the most performed song in that category during a certain period that they logged.
Which of your tunes, Dick, did receive these awards?
Cold Gray Winds of Autumn was the first BMI award that I got. Then Countrified, and the most recent is The Prophet. But I wasn't really too surprised that the Countrified album got nominated because of the success of the song. Like, there's been something like 18 artists that have recorded it, and it's been sub-published in 8 countries or something like that. So.
I was listening to your tune, Mama Was a Christian Lady, and I certainly detected a note of biographical truth. Is this something that you lived, or how did you come to write a song like that?
I don't know whether I could really... it's really hard to... I've never been able to pin down a song or explain a song. I try to write the thing so it gives people something to think about, rather than to make a statement so solid and so out front that it's kind of over obvious. I think there's a lot of me in that song, and it's just the idea of the whole song is being torn between 2 different ways of life and 2 different feelings, you know, and the influences on you as to what you're really into.
How much time, say out of a year, do you actually get to spend where you want to spend it?
Well, probably for the first time in my life in the last 2 years, I've been able to spend maybe a couple of months of the year off the road. There was a period when I went about 6 years when we were like 6 nights a week on the road. Now I'm trying desperately to find a balance between the writing and the performing. In fact, there was a time when I had planned, when I made any kind of success at all as a writer, that I would get off the road. That was probably more because at that time I was in such a constant hassle of being on the road all the time. Where now, if I can get away, get off the road for a few weeks, and then you go through a recharging process where you're ready to go back to work. I do a lot of writing on the road mentally. Most of it ends up on a match cover, a cigarette cover, or something. But I never can finish a song or get down to polishing that or making a finished product of it until I get off the road for a few weeks and get my head straight. On the road, the ideas come flying from point A to point B, or in a motel, or backstage, or in a recording studio. You'll get an idea that gets jotted down, but it never gets finished until I get into that different frame of mind when you get away from things. I really don't know. I think that a person goes through a lot of different stages. You might go through a period when you feel like you're almost drying up as a writer. And another time, I find that it's the other way. There's so many things, and so many things just flashing through your mind. You can't pin anyone down. You know, like you got all these ideas, but you can't sort them out and get anything concrete that you can grab onto.
The country is obviously something that you have a great feeling for. It's more than just something you write about, and judging from your move back here and the surroundings must be good for you. How did you come to decide to come back to the country?
I was born and raised in this country, and I left here 10 years ago, and spent a lot of time on the road, and traveled too many miles, and drank too much booze, and got into, you know, trying to stay awake and trying to keep up for things you had to do and down from things you didn't have to do. And so I got into a pretty bad position, mentally exhausted, I guess. And a few doctors and psychiatrists and people said, well, you designed or created yourself a lifestyle that's going to destroy you by the time you're 40. And at first it was kind of a joke, and I got thinking about this, and it started to wear on me, and I thought there must be a better way. So the natural transition, I guess, was to go back to where the roots were, and it really has worked for me. I've never been happier in my life, I don't think. I'm more creative, and I've had the time to stay here to write and work and be with people that are just down-home people, and then still get out on the road.
You know, after all the years of frustration and just the hard knocks and everything that it takes to be a successful songwriter like you are, it must be a great temptation to be a place like this, just to lay back and just do nothing.
Yeah, I think that's one of the dangers. You know, you can't start feeling maybe too comfortable. It goes in stages, like I think I mentioned before. You need the time to be away from rat race, quotation marks, and get back so you can kind of recharge and get your mentality working again, and kind of take off the insulation that you have to wear playing clubs and being out in the public all the time. But there comes a time when a person has to get back and do the things that are important. Fortunately now I don't have to play the bars and things that much. But it is really important to do the television shows, to get out and promote the records when they're out, and to do some cross-Canada concerts and things like this that are really important.
Dick, you've certainly made your mark in Canada as one of the top country writers, and I'm sure is going and will go beyond Canada. And what now that you've achieved this, what's the end of the rainbow for you? Is there something particular that you want to do and then retire, or do you want to follow the music, and how far do you want to follow it?
I have done some production and things like this, and a certain amount of publishing. And you know, when a person gets later on in the years, I can't really see toting a guitar around the country and doing shows. But I'd like to try to help other people. I think that maybe some of the struggle that I had to go through, that if you find some talented people that are willing to work and can help them over some of the hurdles that were almost insurmountable for you with just the right touch, I think that would be pretty rewarding to be able to give back some of the good things that I've received out of the music business.